Let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I bear witness there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Pieces and blessings upon all my Akhis and all my sisters out there. Welcome to Split Decision episode 41. Subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't listen to these decafs, aka dumb casual ass fans / old media. Always call in. Don't forget to call in. The number is in the description box for the ones that don't know. Now you know. So go ahead if you want to be an Akhi of mine and you want to join the Akhi family. Subscribe and click on the notification bell and go ahead and call in so I could talk to you. This is a boxing / debate talk show. So if you're a decaf and you want to debate boxing, you're more than welcome. Anybody can get it
They call me the
on some
problem,
AB.
but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans.
With that being said,
Ladies and gentlemen,
started.
Let's get ready to rumble!
So again, the number is in the description box. So I don't have to keep reposting it on the chat. As y'all know, I mix, master, engineer, produce, split decision, and I knock these decafs out for all my Akhis. I appreciate all my Akhis on the chat. We got a lot to talk about today, from what Shakur had to say to Ryan Garcia and Golden Boy, Deontay Wilder, Fury. And I want all the Canelo fans, the Pacquiao fans, anybody that disagree with me, I challenge you to call in. Grow some cojones and call in, because y'all pretty much talk a whole lot of crap in the comment section, being keyboard warriors, but when it's smoke time, y'all are a no-show. So I don't know what I have to do to force y'all to call in, but do me the pleasure and call in so I can knock you out on split decision. Obviously, it's split decision. It's your opinion, my opinion. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but when facts are laid out, your opinion is irrelevant. So with that being said, I still want to hear the other side. I still want to knock you out, because of course it's split decision, but it's going to be a KO. You won't get saved by the bell. So shout out to everybody in the chat, all my Akhis. And let's go ahead and move on to the first round. As I'm changing things up, I just want to announce that I got a show coming up with my brother. My own Akhi is going to be every Wednesday. So I'm going to have two shows. One called Boxing Hood on Wednesday and another show on Sunday. It's not going to be this week. It's going to be next week, because I got a lot of frying to do this week from Paulie and Tyson Fury and all of the above. So just stay tuned, subscribe, and click on the notification bell. Y'all going to be in on the ride. Joe's of Life, shout out to my Akhi in the chat and everybody that I didn't mention their name. So like, if y'all peep a decaf, please force them to call in, because they scared to call in. They don't got no cojones anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with what Jon Jones had to say, challenging Mike Tyson. Jon Jones stated, Mike Tyson, I will box you in the ring if you promise to give me a real fight in the octagon afterwards. And because I respect you so much, I promise I won't break anything on you, King. Now, I don't even know how to feel about that, because of course Mike Tyson came out stating, hey, you know, fighters in the UFC don't make any money. Pretty much Dana White is pimping these fighters, because it's almost like a monopoly. Unlike boxing, where there's a whole lot of competition from a whole lot of bunch of networks, in the UFC it's pretty much monopoly. So Tyson Fury was pointing out the fact that there's no money in the UFC. He loved the UFC. He's a big fan, but there's no money in the UFC. He said John Jones, in order for him to make a whole lot of money, he got to pretty much fight me. So obviously that's why John Jones is responding. It ain't no disrespect, but I just want to first of all say, you know, when John Jones said, you know, if you want to fight me in a real fight, come to the octagon. I respect you. I won't hurt you. I understand all the talk because Tyson is an old man and all that, but don't get it twisted. You know, why you calling out a 53-year-old man to the octagon? John Jones, if Tyson choose you to be the one, you better be glad and you better run to the ring to fight him because he's still 53 years old. And John Jones is arguably one of the GOATs in the UFC. He got some striking skills now. So he pretty much could do well against Tyson in the boxing ring because Tyson is 53 years old. He's not in his prime. So I'm going to touch on that in a little bit, but I just want to first of all emphasize on what Tyson had to say. So, of course, you know, boxing versus UFC, they claim UFC does a whole bunch of numbers on ESPN Plus. They do way more numbers than boxing. That's a arguable statement, but people lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So if numbers do back that up, and I don't know the numbers 100%, if numbers do back that up, fighters in the UFC started complaining about the pay because they're not getting paid or they believe they pretty much getting cheated. You can't get no endorsement because of Reebok and Monster, the UFC pretty much controlling the whole industry when it comes to UFC. Obviously, MMA, there's different networks, but UFC is the dominant force. So, for example, Conor McGregor, one of their biggest stars. Amanda Nunes, another big star in the UFC. Amanda Nunes is the biggest UFC star when it comes to the female division. Obviously, Ronda Rousey opened the door and Amanda Nunes knocked her out and took the throne. So she got paid $1 million her last fight. And that was a huge purse for a female in the UFC. Conor McGregor, on the other hand, he was selling 1 million pay-per-view before he got exposed by Khabib and got beat up by Floyd. I'm talking about before that, when he was actually kicking ass, when he was fighting the likes of Nate Diaz, Jose, and he was knocking them guys out and going to wars with guys like Nate Diaz. He was selling more than 1 million on pay-per-view each time he stepped in the ring, or nearly that amount. He was pretty much competitive with what Floyd Mayweather used to do or with what Floyd Mayweather did for over a decade in the sport of boxing. After he beat Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, every time he stepped in the ring, regardless if it was a name or a no name, Floyd Mayweather pretty much sold 1 million pay-per-view at least. So when Floyd Mayweather was fighting, he was getting paid at least $32 million guaranteed, plus the upside money when it comes to pay-per-view. So when he fought Canelo, he nearly made $100 million in that fight. Conor McGregor, on the other hand, he was doing tremendous numbers against a guy like Nate Diaz and multiple guys in the UFC. However, man, the man was getting paid $3 million. I believe when he fought Nate Diaz for the second time, it was one of the biggest UFC fights, and he got paid $3 million guaranteed plus the pay-per-view money because he was the main event. He got a title holder. Conor McGregor got up to like 10 million max. I know he didn't get more than 10 million. So you can see how he pretty much getting pimped out. While Floyd Mayweather selling around the same, pay-per-view numbers, because of course, Conor was that star in the UFC. He was the Mayweather of the UFC. The only problem is, compared to Mayweather, Conor only had 15 minutes of fame. So he got knocked out of his throne pretty quick. Floyd Mayweather, he stayed on top for 20 years. So what I'm pretty much saying, though, the main point was Conor wasn't getting paid the money he was supposed to. However, when he got a taste of that money they making in boxing, when he fought Floyd Money Mayweather, he made $100 million in one night. Regardless if he got his ass kicked or not, you and I would pretty much get kicked for that for $100 million. I fight whoever for $100 million. So Conor felt like, man, that's the money I should be making. I'm the star. So when he went to the UFC and fought Khabib and got smashed, of course, the fight right after that, he got paid pretty well. I think I think Forbes have him making 40 million or so, or 40 plus. That's tremendous for a fighter in the UFC. However, he the only one because he got a taste of that money in boxing, and he knew what he's working with. So because of that, he structured. Of course, the whiskey he sells. Obviously, it ain't a coincidence that Conor McGregor is the only one that gets to promote a brand of his during press conferences or whatever during the UFC. Dana White pretty much let him slide. He told him, listen, man, we got a contract with Monster. We got a contract with Reebok. But because you are a big star, I'm going to let you do it, but you got to play it smart. So these fighters won't complain and want to do the same thing you did. But because you're the star, I'm going to let you slide with that. Trust me, Dana White is not about to drink his whiskey and allow Conor McGregor to have his whiskey there. It was all part of the plan. So what I'm pretty much saying, they let Conor McGregor slide to Khabib smashed him, and they still support him because, of course, he's still the money man, him and Khabib. But like I pretty much point out, if you compare Floyd Mayweather purse, making at least 30 million guaranteed, at least 32, 33, Conor McGregor getting 3 million guaranteed. He ain't even making 10%. And that's the issue in the UFC. So that's what Mike Tyson was pretty much pointing out. He wasn't taking shots at any UFC fighter. He's just pointing out the fact that there's no money in the UFC. Dana White is pretty much pimping these fighters. So obviously Jon Jones, he took a shot to challenge Mike Tyson since he is making a comeback. Now, it's an intriguing matchup, if we all being honest. If it's an exhibition bout for 3 rounds, it's an intriguing matchup because it's still boxing. Mike's still Mike Tyson. The last thing that's going to go away is your power. But if it's more than 3 rounds, of course, Mike Tyson's smoking all day, getting high every day. He ain't going to be able to go past 3 rounds. He's just not in condition, especially for 53 years old. And for the people that know Floyd, Mike Tyson, his last fight, it wasn't even himself. Matter of fact, when he fought Lennox Lewis, he wasn't even himself. Mike Tyson left a long time ago because he was doing a lot of drugging and all the above, which he talked about on a recent live. So, I got a caller real quick. Let me go ahead and pick up the call. So, just to finish my last thoughts, it's an intriguing matchup if it's an exhibition bout, and Mike Tyson will be the favorite. But the only thing that Mike Tyson have to be mindful, it can't be more than 3 rounds because Jon Jones still a high-level athlete that's very conditioned to go a bunch of rounds. So I won't recommend it. So when he challenged Mike to the UFC, it's like, man, you extremely reaching. This is not a prime Mike. This is an old Mike. With that being said, I got my Akhi on the line. How you doing, Akhi? Who this is and where you calling from?
Craig from Vegas.
Craig from Vegas. How you doing, Akhi? What you want to talk about today?
Yeah, I don't understand why there's so much hate against Wilder when Wilder has only 1 loss on his record. And I know some people are going to say, well, the first fight, Tyson Fury got robbed. But at the end of the day, the judges are the only opinions that matter, and they ruled it a draw. He had 2 really impressive knockdowns, which Fury, I believe, had never been knocked down before. And I don't really understand why the whole boxing community in some ways is just disrespecting this man. And especially with, Fury now more concentrated on facing Joshua and just acting like he's just going to get through Wilder like it's nothing.
Right. I mean, this is the sport of boxing. As soon as you take the L, it's like the end of the world almost. That's the way they treat it, especially if you're a fighter on the coincidental list. I mean, you're going to get it the worst, and that's what's pretty much happening to Deontay Wilder. I mean, let's not forget, AJ, just last year, he was in the same predicament where a lot of people wrote him off. You know what I mean? And you saw how he came back and won with ease. You know, and what did Ruiz do? I actually said, you know, I compare him to Buster Douglas. I said, hopefully he ain't a one-hit wonder. And he took it that way. He got comfortable with fame. And AJ, he had the hunger back and pulled it off. So the same thing could pretty much happen with Deontay Wilder, because you could see AJ, Tyson Fury is already overlooking Deontay Wilder. He's already looking past him. He already, according to him, he already signed the 2-fight deal with AJ. So he's already overlooking Deontay Wilder. And all it takes is one, especially in the heavyweight division. So how can you count out the guy with the highest percentage in the heavyweight division when it comes to knockout?
Ruiz isn't Fury, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, Joshua lost to Ruiz, who already had a loss on his record. He isn't the same type of fighter as Tyson Fury. He doesn't have the success Tyson Fury has. And yet they're like treating him worse than when Joshua lost.
Right. So that's
what I'm saying. I don't get it. I mean, he was favored in the fight. You know what I'm saying? And he had a bad night. Yeah, his footwork wasn't perfect. There were a lot of issues, whatever. But it was one loss. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, fighters used to take losses like it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I guess just because Mayweather went undefeated, everyone expects like all these fighters to just become undefeated. Mayweather was a special type of fighter. You know what I'm saying? We may never see another Mayweather again.
Yeah, and like you said, you know, there's only one Mayweather. So I don't understand where that's coming from. For example, like a guy like Max Kellerman to say, which I'm gonna talk about later on in this video, which he pointed out, hey, listen, Deontay Wilder is no longer a top contender. He's not one of the 3-headed monsters anymore. Right, and it's like, hold on. Max is known for saying, one loss shouldn't define you. Is all about the best versus the best. So how are you going to flip the script now? Because Deontay Wilder is known for wanting to fight the best and fighting the best. He fought Luis Ortiz twice when he didn't have to, and he fought Tyson Fury twice. So how can you say, you know what I'm saying? How can you flip the script all of a sudden and go from saying, hey, it ain't about losing, it's about fighting the best, and now Deontay Wilder is no longer the man anymore because he just took one L from the best heavyweight, Tyson Fury, right now. So it just don't add up, but it's because Deontay Wilder's on the coincidental list. He's going to get it the worse. He's going to get it the worse.
Well, and I'll say this. No, I know Max Kellerman has a ton of boxing knowledge, but let's be real. Has he ever been in the ring? No. So does he know what it's like to actually like take a loss or to even like be in the sport as far as from a fighter's perspective? He doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So like I personally don't really even look at Max Kellerman's opinion as anything anymore because at the end of the day he's never been in the ring.
And
I know he's got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, he a company man.
What's up?
Yeah, and he's a company man.
He's got a lot of knowledge. I'm not going to take that away from him. But at the end of the day, you know, he's not Timothy Bradley, Andre Ward. He's not Lennox Lewis. He's not Sean Porter, who does commentating all the time. Like, he's never fought. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't understand why. Like, I get that he has been around forever. And I get that, you know, a lot of people follow him and they like, you know, his knowledge on the sport. But at the end of the day, he's never been in the ring.
Yeah, you
so, like, I don't.
Right. And you could tell he have an agenda because, you know, it's a maximum hypocrisy. That's what I call it. Yeah, when it comes to his Max on boxing show, it's maximum hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Because
the man's never been in the ring.
Right, and it's like, you know, we seen this before. You know, we seen Manny Pacquiao get put to sleep and came back better than ever. And you could pretty much say he corrected his mistake when he got knocked out because he didn't get he started, you know, he no longer walked in straight to a right hand like he did with Marquez. You know, he took notes of that KO. So fighters bounce back in the past. We've seen this. Like, it ain't like, oh, it's impossible to bounce back. In order to define a great champion, one of them is how you bounce back from a loss. Can you bounce back? So how can you not give Deontay Wilder at least the chance of seeing if he's capable of bouncing back? Is what's mind-boggling to me.
Had 41 knockouts. You know, it speaks for itself. 41 knockouts.
41.
You know,
yeah.
Straight.
And like you said, you know, he got the highest.
They're acting like he's done.
Right. In the heavyweight division, especially.
I don't get it.
In the heavyweight division, especially, all it takes is one. And since Deontay Wilder is the hardest hitter, at least in the heavyweight division today, that's a fact, you know, he has a shot against anybody because all he has to do is land one. So, yes, he made mistakes, but nobody really watched Deontay Wilder for his great boxing skills, how he going to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. We all watched Deontay Wilder to put somebody out. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So now all of a sudden people want to focus on his technical mistakes that he makes. But we pretty much know that's not him. Deontay Wilder, it goes in the ring, looks for that one, and once he landed, he gonna put you out. So that's how Wilder operate. But it's mind-boggling to me that people wrote him off and acted like he the biggest underdog in the world, and they say his career is over. They say he can't be fixed. And all of the above, and we pretty much see.
It's funny because he's never been an underdog in any one of his fights. If you look at the betting line.
Right. You know, but one thing for sure, he has a chance to prove everybody wrong. He does have a rematch clause, and he activated it. So all the respect to Deontay Wilder because he did activated a rematch clause. A lot of people say he won't fight Tyson Fury a third time, and he did it in 1 week because he wanted to run it back. So it's all about the best fighting the best. I mean, we want Canelo to fight the best. We want all the best fighters in the game to fight the best. That's why we love the sport of boxing. I promise you, if the best in boxing fight the best, we will be the most dominant sport over soccer ball, over basketball, you name it. The reason why is because boxing is nothing like a great fight where it's a 50-50 fight between top 2 pound-for-pound fighters. Anybody could watch that. You know, you don't have to know anything about boxing in order to watch 2 fighters fight. You could be a casual and watch the fight, a great fight. But soccer, you have to be a fan. Football, you have to be a fan. Basketball, you pretty much have to be a fan. There's nothing more entertaining than a great boxing match. So in order for boxing to be the best sport, the best have to fight the best. But how can the best fight the best when as soon as somebody loses, his career is over? Now the best ain't gonna want to fight the best unless it's for all marvels. So they only hurting the sport by actually claiming Wilder is washed, this and that, all because of one loss. When yesterday they were claiming he the best in the game in the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's funny how the world turns.
You know, and it's funny too because everybody on ESPN before the second Wilder Fury fight all had Wilder winning the fight, and now they're just bashing this man like he was Buster Douglas. Like he wasn't Buster Douglas.
Right.
He had a name for himself. People knew who he was. Like he was the most talked about heavyweight.
Like he didn't have 10 title defenses.
Yeah, he had one bad night.
And that's common in boxing. And it's common in boxing to have bad nights. Because other sports, you pretty much, you have a bad night. You tell your teammate to time in. You know, basketball, soccer, whatever. You know, boxing, you have a bad night, you get sparked out. So a lot of fighters had bad nights. It's all about bouncing back. But with that being said, great conversation with you, my man. Can you lay out your last comments? Because I got to keep the show moving. But always great having a conversation with you.
Yeah, no doubt. My only last comment is just, I just wanted to call about that because I didn't understand it. But I'm glad somebody sees it the way I was seeing it.
And I appreciate your view. Every time I talk to you, I always have a great conversation. And this is going to be another separate video I'm posting on the channel. Appreciate it, Akhi.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I'm going to touch on what Deontay Wilder, on Max Kellerman, Floyd Mayweather, Sr., and all the above in a little bit once I get to that. So Shakur came out. Well, let me go ahead and hit the bell. Shout out to everybody on the chat too. Shakur Stevenson got asked by Ellie sat back. Name the two most fighters you want to face at 135. He stated, I would love to beat up on Ryan Garcia and steal his fans. He also talked about wanting to fight Lomachenko since he's the number 135 pounders. And he claimed that that's the most difficult fight is Lomachenko because he's the most experienced. Now, he added that once he fight Ryan Garcia, it's just going to be episode 2 of Oscar versus Floyd Mayweather, just in a worse fashion. He going to dominate Ryan Garcia more so than Floyd Mayweather did Oscar De La Hoya. Now, my opinion on that, I believe Shakur versus Ryan is more so Manny Pacquiao versus Oscar De La Hoya. I like Ryan Garcia, but I just think the talent that Shakur is, I believe Ryan versus Shakur is pretty much Manny Pacquiao versus Oscar De La Hoya all over again. He's going to touch him whenever he wants to, and Ryan is fast, but he ain't going to find nothing to hit because your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see, and that's how Shakur fights. So I believe that comparison was close, but is more closer for Ryan versus Devin Haney. I believe that's more Floyd Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya. The only difference is, I believe when they do fight, unlike Oscar De La Hoya, I think Devin Haney is going to be the one that's pushing the action, fighting more so in the inside than Floyd Mayweather did with Oscar. Because Devin Haney, to me, from what I'm seeing, he's more of a fighter. Maybe it's his pretty boy stage right now, but he looked like he's more of a fighter and a dog than Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was more of a pretty boxer and slicker and had better defense. Devin Haney looked like more of a dog than Floyd Mayweather was. At least that's from the outside looking in. We won't know. And because of Ryan's style, Ryan Garcia is the type of fighter who's not comfortable in the inside. From what I've seen, when Ryan Garcia, somebody cut off the gap and forced him to fight in the inside, he pretty much either gets his hands up or hold. He's not comfortable in the inside like Devin Haney is. So Devin Haney going to eat him up in the inside. So I believe he's going to be pushing for inside work, in my humble opinion. So I believe the role will reverse a little bit, in my humble opinion, when they do clash. So I would say Devin Haney versus Ryan is more so Floyd Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya Part 2. The only difference is the Matador is going to be Ryan and the Bull is going to be Devin. At least 70 to 30% portion of the fight. On the other hand, like I told y'all, Shakur versus Ryan Garcia is more so like Manny Pacquiao versus Ryan. Now Ryan is a good fighter, has tremendous hand speed, tremendous power, which that's what makes him special. But Shakur got him beat on every other attribute. Ryan is the bigger guy. You know, he has more reach, more height, of course, than Shakur. But that's pretty much only the advantages that he has on his side, with a little bit more hand speed, possibly, and a little bit more power. But as far as the defense, the IQ, the slickness, I believe Shakur has all of that. And if you're smarter than your opponent, you pretty much got him beat, because like Floyd Mayweather said, you know, you could be bigger than me, stronger than me, hit harder than me, but you're not smarter than me. And that's how I feel every time watching Shakur fights. I just feel like he that special talent that is going to surpass every fighter in the game today. So when he do fight Ryan Garcia, you know, this is not taking shots at Ryan Garcia potential. I just believe he won't find nothing to hit. And I just believe Shakur going to outbox him and going to give him that work in the inside as well. So I think he's going to be a one-up on him, as he already beat him in the amateurs as well. I mean, Shakur done beat up everybody in the amateurs. But he also sparred a bunch of fighters like Devin Haney. He fought Gervonta, sparred Lomachenko, sparred Crawford for 5 years now, and many more great fighters like Teo Lopez, who's a champion today. And, you know, he held his own in all of them sparrings, besides the Crawford sparring, because Crawford was pretty much 4 or 5 divisions up. So with that being said, you know, nevertheless, all of these fights in the future are huge mega fights that's going to make Shakur and Devin superstars in the game, because Ryan Garcia is a star, win or lose. Ryan, just like Oscar De La Hoya, if he fights the best, he will always maintain as a main player in the sport of boxing and be one of the biggest stars in the game. Now, when it comes to Lomachenko and what Shakur had to say, he touched on and reflect on the sparring where he said, you know, normally Lomachenko will spar up to 4 guys during one night or one training camp. You know, he will switch guys up. He will bring somebody in for 3 rounds, switch him out for somebody fresh. But when Shakur stepped in, and he wasn't getting paid at the time, he was doing it voluntarily, according to Shakur. He gave him the work, and because Lomachenko is so competitive, he actually sparred Shakur throughout. So whenever he sparred Shakur, he would not switch him out for any other sparring partner. Even though they will be they will have their headgear ready, they will be ready to spar Lomachenko, but they just gonna be all they do is watch, because Lomachenko was so highly competitive, and because Shakur was doing great, even though he was pretty young at the time and just turned pro. Lomachenko obviously tried to get the upper hand, and from what I seen, like I told y'all on the sparring pictures and all the above, Shakur had the headgear that pretty much doesn't protect your face. On the other hand, Lomachenko had the nose bar, and I spar with that too. But like I said, you know, for Shakur to spar somebody at that level without a nose bar, just with a headgear that got his whole face exposed, lets you know how confident he is with his defense. And in the sport of boxing, if you don't get hit, you pretty much could win and outpoint your opponent. Roy Jones said, if I could touch you and you can't touch me, if I could do that for 12 rounds, I could beat anybody in the game. And that's what Roy Jones did throughout his career, because he was so gifted and he had cat-like reflexes. He pretty much dominated the game till he beat himself, losing all that weight from the heavyweight division at an old age. But I remember watching Shakur last fight, and after the fight, post-fight interview, Shakur stated, I got hit too much. And the interviewer informed Shakur that you got hit with 9 punches. And Shakur simply responded by telling him, that's a whole bunch. I don't like getting hit, period. I don't want to get hit at all. And that's a sign for a great fighter and the recipe for greatness, because you get hit 9 times in 6 rounds. That's like less than 2 punches a round. What you complaining about? Like, a lot of people would be happy with that result. But Shakur felt like he got hit a whole bunch. He said, I got hit a lot. Even though statistically, numbers say otherwise. I saw Shakur get hit in that fight like 3-4 times clean. Beside that, it was just probably grazing punches to the body. And to Shakur, that was a whole bunch. So that's great. That's a recipe for greatness. So the sky is the limit for Shakur. So I'm going to go ahead and shout out people on the chat. Feel free to call in. Sammy Hassan said Shakur is perfectionist in the ring. The numbers don't lie. Jules of Life, Akhi, I remember 18 punches. Oh, for real? He got hit by 18 punches? Yeah, well, he said 9 punches. The interviewer who was interviewing Shakur at the time. Akhi TV, Nick Diaz said Tyson Fury is lying. RJ, shout out to my man. Coco1 said Loma ain't fighting nobody. Loma overrated. Listen, as long he fights Shakur, Devin Haney, Gervonta, Tio Lopez, and beat them guys, then he's gonna define his legacy in my books. If he avoid them guys, it's a horrible look on his career, and it's pretty much a duck. But let me go ahead and move on to the next round and touch on. So, Max Kellerman came out stating that Deontay Wilder is no longer a major player in the heavyweight division. He said that he no longer a top contender. I got a caller, so let me go ahead and pick up the call first. How you doing, Akhi? Who this is and where you calling from?
This is Sean, ATL.
Hold on. I'm getting the studio fixed a little bit. Say it again, Akhi.
Sean, ATL.
Sean, ATL. I got you. So talk to me. What topic you want to touch on?
Wilder.
Yeah, let's dive in right into it.
So, I'm just now checking into the live. So, what's your opinion on it with Mayweather singing what he's saying? I didn't get your take yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually the next topic. So do you mind if I call you back right after this segment? It's gonna be like the topic right after that because I want to show a clip of what Floyd Mayweather said.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna call you right back. So when I
cool.
do call you, just pick up the call. We're gonna dive into it. All right.
All right, cool. All right,
peace. So go ahead, call my Akhi back when I get to the Floyd Mayweather Sr. Conversation. So Max Kellerman came out stating that Deontay Wilder is no longer a threat. He said Deontay Wilder no longer a major player in the heavyweight division. He said he no longer one of the three-headed monsters. I think Max Kellerman is pretty much talking about his hip-hop career more so than Deontay Wilder's career. Because Max Kellerman was one of the main guys that always points out it ain't about taking an L. It's about the best versus the best. It's about fighting the best. In the heavyweight division, all it takes is one. And in the heavyweight division, if you take a loss, it's A-okay. Because you could always bounce back. Max Kellerman was one of the guys that actually, one of the main people that always pushed that saying of it's about the best versus the best. Losses shouldn't matter that much. However, now all of a sudden, Deontay Wilder is washed and he's over with. I don't understand where Max Kellerman is coming from because it ain't like Deontay Wilder lost to a bum. It ain't like Deontay Wilder lost to a Wildin or a Tom Schwartz. Then I can understand where Max Kellerman is coming from. But when Deontay Wilder lost to arguably the number one heavyweight in the world today, then what is the issue? Eventually, you will lose if you continue on fighting the best. And that's what happened to Deontay Wilder. He fought Luis Ortiz twice. He fought Tyson Fury twice. Eventually, you're going to lose. So, by Max Kellerman making them comments, he contradicted himself. Because like I said, he's one of the guys that always push for the best versus the best. And he always claims it ain't impressive to being undefeated. He said Floyd Mayweather undefeated because he's a businessman. He always tried to push that agenda that I debunked on more than one occasion. But when Deontay Wilder, a guy that fought the best, and in the process of fighting the best, lost to one of the best, then what's the big deal? Because, like I said, that's just another contradiction. Was Max Kellerman claiming that AJ is over with and his career is over and he's no longer one of the main players in the heavyweight division when Anthony Joshua lost to Ruiz, an unknown fighter at the time? Absolutely not. He was one of the guys that claimed, well, listen, man, anything can happen in the heavyweight division. Ruiz is just another major player in the heavyweight division. You see how they changed the rules. You see how they add rules more so. But when it's Deontay Wilder losing to somebody that he actually supposed to be losing to, now all of a sudden he's washed. His career is over with. It can't go both ways. So it ain't like Deontay Wilder doesn't have 10 title defenses. Wilder proved himself over the past 5 years. He challenged himself versus the best, Ruiz. He fought Ortiz. He fought Tyson Fury. He tried to fight AJ on more than one occasion. He did everything in his power to make the fight. But now all of a sudden, he's no longer a major player. I'll call you right back, Akhi. but now all of a sudden he's no longer a major player. It's just mind-boggling because, like I said, like I was talking to my man earlier, you know, Manny Pacquiao came to the game and got knocked out by Marquez and got sparked out. He lost in a devastating fashion, to say the least. He made a comeback. One sign of a great champion is actually bouncing back from a loss, is how you bounce back from a loss. So at least give Deontay Wilder the benefit of the doubt of bouncing back from a loss. See how he do. And again, in the heavyweight division or in boxing period, you always have that one style that will always give you a problem. Maybe Tyson Fury is Deontay Wilder kryptonite. So let's say Tyson Fury does beat Deontay Wilder again and then goes and loses to AJ. But when Deontay Wilder fight AJ, he sparked him out, or he sparks him out. Style make fights. So you cannot write a fighter off based on one fight and all of a sudden call him pretty much over with and washed up. It doesn't work that way. Because Luis Ortiz is another major player in the heavyweight division. If Luis Ortiz fight Tyson Fury today, that's a 50-50 fight. Because Luis Ortiz have skills and defense and power that will trouble Tyson Fury. However, Deontay Wilder knocked him out twice. And he always have his number because he just can't avoid that right hand, especially from a southpaw position. It's funny to me that Max Kellerman was one of the guys that claimed that Usyk could be one of the major players in the heavyweight division, even though he haven't did a damn thing. So if Deontay Wilder fight Usyk today, he will be the favorite to spark him out because he's nothing but a cruiserweight. And how can he avoid that right hand, especially from a southpaw position? Is he better than Luis Ortiz, who's one of the best southpaws in the game, especially in the heavyweight division? Absolutely not. He a great cruiserweight, just not a great heavyweight. But according to Max Kellerman, he has great potential to even upset AJ. But like I said, he claims Deontay Wilder is no longer a major player in the heavyweight division, which that's mind-boggling. So let me go ahead and call my Akhi that was calling me while I was talking. $678. I'm gonna call you next, but let me see what this man, what 480 is all about. I gotta get myself together right here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. How you doing, Akhi? Who this is and where you calling from?
Yo.
New York?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yo,
hear
yo.
you pretty clear. Talk to me.
Bro, I had some thoughts on Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bro, I'm telling you, that nigga trash, bro. Ryan Garcia, 10 out of 10 knockout. Guaranteed.
Are you informed that Shakur...
Huh?
Are you informed that Shakur beat up the crap out of Ryan Garcia in the amateurs pretty easy?
But that's the amateurs, bro.
How he gonna do it 10
bro.
out of 10? That's not even... I mean, Ryan Garcia, you believe he the number one future pound for pound potential? Is that how you feel?
Yeah, bro. Telling you, bro. Shakur Stevenson don't got nothing on Ryan.
Well, that's just your opinion. Everybody entitled to their own opinion, but only time will tell. But I can promise you that won't happen. Anything? I mean, you want to back it up? You want to say something? Because, like I said, you pretty much just threw it out there. But what makes you believe so?
I know, bro. His last fights, bro. Have you seen them? Compared to Shakur, bro, I feel like Ryan.
Who was he fighting?
Ryan up next. Huh?
Who was he fighting?
Who, Shakur?
No, Ryan. You said his last fight is what made you believe so. So who was he fighting?
Nah, what's his name? Fonseca, bro.
Okay.
Bro, Gervonta Davis knocked out Fonseca 8th round. Ryan did it first, bro. Think about it. Let that sink in.
Okay, what that mean? Style makes fights. But anyways, is that everything you want to say?
Nah, bro, that's pretty much it.
All right, appreciate it. Well, everybody entitled to their own opinion. Hopefully, he the future. Only time will tell. He got a lot to back it up. To back up, though, I mean, he got a future fight with Gervonta, Linares, and Devin Haney. So we will see. Only time will tell. Nobody being Shakur, in my humble opinion, especially not Ryan Garcia. You know, Ryan Garcia makes too many mistakes. He got his chin up in the air and all the above. Hopefully he corrects them, though. And he can't even really fight in the inside, especially on that level. You know, so we will see. So, you know, what's crazy to me is that, you know, Tyson Fury nearly lost to Wallen his last fight before fighting Deontay Wilder, and nobody. So it ain't that easy to defend your title 10 times. And Wallen wasn't even a top 10 fighter in the heavyweight division. He fought two unknown fighters, Tom Schwartz and Wallen. They weren't on the top 20. Wallen wasn't even on the top 50. That was a scandal more so. And Wallen, on the other hand, he almost pulled off the upset. So anything can happen in the sport of boxing. That's why, you know, Tyson Fury matter of fact, he has 0 title defenses. We got to see you versus different styles. We got to see how you're going to perform versus guys that could fight in the inside, since he's so tall. And like I said, you know, style make fights. Anything can happen in the heavyweight division. One punch could change the whole fight. And who known for doing that the best in the heavyweight division today? Deontay Wilder. But like I said, you know, it's funny to me how Max Kellerman nearly contradict himself every time he on camera. Pick up a call. How you doing, Akhi? Who this is? Where you calling from?
What's up, Akhi? It's Cloud. I'm calling from LA.
I got you. Say it again. This is who?
Cloud, calling from LA.
All right. Cloud, talk to me. What's going on?
Yo, first of all, shout out to you, Akhi, because I've been tuning in for a minute, bro. Like, straight up a year now, bro.
Appreciate
and you've been holding shit down, so excuse my language, but you've been holding it down, buddy.
Oh, I appreciate it all day, man. Thank you.
All day, bro. Yeah, so I really feel like the Deontay slander that everybody's doing right now, it ain't really like I'm not rocking with it at all, because that man is 41 and what, 1 right now? So it's like he defended his belt all that time and people trashing his name like this. Like, I don't sit right with it. But I'm also seeing on the other end of the spectrum Tyson Fury fans and, you know, Tyson Fury bandwagoners, you feel me? They trying to just crush Deontay. Like, it's not even about like Tyson Fury cheating no more.
Right.
Like, everybody forgot about that,
yeah.
You know. But so now it's just down in Wilder. You feel me? And I'm like, it seemed like it was planned, because everybody now it's like teaming up to go against Wilder now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now they trying to get Anthony Joshua to fight him to fight Tyson, and I'm like, man, Anthony ducked the smoke from Wilder, so it's like now you want to fight Tyson now, like,
and
come on now, like.
You know, obviously I agree with you. You know, they having a field day, which is the Tyson Fury fans. You know, of course, Wilder
Right.
lost, man. You won't hear the end of it. You know what I mean? I mean, it ain't even about Deontay Wilder no more. And also, it's Deontay Wilder haters. I believe there's more Deontay Wilder haters than there is Tyson Fury fans. You know what I'm saying? You know, that
Right,
plays
bro.
a big role. And like you said, you know, AJ was one of the guys, you know, first of all, I love the fact that AJ standing up for his people over there in the UK and you
Right.
know, him doing all the above. You know, I I gained so much respect for him for doing so. But on the other hand, if we call a spade, you know, AJ was one of the guys that told Tyson Fury, hey man, I come spar you and prepare you and sharpen you up for Deontay Wilder so you could beat his ass, mind my language, so you know, we could fight each other because I don't like his style. I believe that's my kryptonite. That's pretty much what he said. You know, AJ, that was a horrible look what he did. You know what I'm saying? Or what he said. I don't understand sometimes the decisions or what he says in the media. You know, I don't understand where that comes from because he makes himself look bad. But with that being said, you know, now all of a sudden, like I said, you know, they slobbering for a fight between Tyson Fury and AJ. It's a great fight. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But, you know, Wilder is still a threat in the heavyweight division.
Exactly.
And like I said this on more than one occasion. If, you know, win or lose, AJ needs to fight Deontay Wilder before his career is over with. He knows that. Because it's not a good look to retire without fighting Deontay Wilder, especially after all the ducking accusations and the facts that's on the tape.
Akhi,
you know what I'm saying? So,
Akhi, if he fight Fury before he fight Wilder, like, come on now. Like, I get it. You going for the gusto. You know what I mean? You going for the belt. You going for the legacy. I got you, Anthony. But you know, Deontay was talking about running that phase for a minute. You know what I mean?
Right,
like 3-4 years, my G.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Man,
so that's you can't just count him out. That's like I can't think of nobody off the top of my head, but like
I mean,
I don't know. Wilder proved himself. You feel me?
Right,
Wilder
it's just a horrible
himself.
look.
You don't.
Yeah, I mean, just a horrible look because what pretty much happened was, you know, AJ turned his own offer down. I mean, he asked for $50 million, right? And then he didn't want to come to the U.S., but he came to the U.S. to fight Big Baby Miller, a lesser a name and without a strap. But then he got sent back to the U.K. And then after that, you know, at the time, after he turned down the $50 million, he sent Deontay Wilder $15 million flat with no pay-per-view revenue. And as soon as Deontay Wilder signed the dotted lines, WBO mandated Povetkin, the cheater, instead, who failed a drug test the fight before that. And it came randomly in 48 hours. Like, so random. As soon as Deontay Wilder signed the damn contract, like, what the hell? Like, you know Eddie Hearn paid somebody. So like I said, you know, it's just not a great look on AJ's behalf. He have to, you know, fight Wilder, win or lose. So on the other hand, Tyson Fury, you know, he have to run it back with Deontay Wilder and then fight AJ, but that ain't enough. Even if he beat AJ, he have to defend his title because he has 0 title defenses. I mean, we can't ignore that. You gotta remember that Wilder nearly beat Tyson Fury.
Right.
And he was a nobody. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say it like this. Like, I agree with everything that you just said, but I think that Tyson he was talking about retiring, my G. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He gave up his boxing license in you know, the UK, in his home country.
Right.
So it's like,
but
like he's trying to go for the gusto and like, oh yeah, I beat Wilder twice, and then I'm gonna beat Joshua, and then I'm gonna retire. Like, nah, bro. Like,
it don't work.
You
like
done cheated against Wilder 2 times in a row, and that's a fact, bro. Like, you proved it. Many other people proved it. I saw it with my own eyes, my G. Like, he was punching them in the back of the head. Like,
dirty.
There's so much we can go on about. I'm just a boxing fan, bro.
Right.
I don't even.
And to us, we ain't even making excuses. You know, if you want to use veteran tactics, it is what it is. You know, and if you want to use veteran tactics, it is what it is. But the double standards is if a fighter like Salido was receiving these, you know, dirty tactics, they not gonna talk about the loss, or they're gonna try to erase it, which they pretty much did. But all they want to point out during the fight was, oh, look at all the low blows, look at this, look at the dirty tactics. But when it's Tyson Fury, they don't want to talk about none of that. You know, they want to act like they Stevie Wonders. They see no dirty tactics. They don't see Tyson Fury hitting Deontay Wilder to the back of the head every single time with the right hand. You know, they don't see him pushing down on him and all the dirty tactics. You know what I mean? But like I said, they want to point out other fighters that do or utilize dirty tactics. So if it don't bother you, you can't you can't say, oh, Salido's dirty, but you don't call Tyson Fury dirty. You know, it don't go both
Period.
ways. You know what I'm saying? You got to call a spade
Right.
a spade. But like I said, you know, with Tyson Fury, you know, he have 0 title defenses. And if we really look at his career, because they always want to bash Deontay Wilder's career, let's look at Tyson Fury's career.
That's what I'm saying.
Tyson Fury, he beat Klitschko. That was a great win, his best win to this day. But
But then he got
Tyson
caught for
Fury,
PEDs, though.
he got caught for PEDs. Thank you. And guess what? Klitschko was 40 years old. You know, so
Thank you, bro.
like
That's
really,
fun.
you ain't
Come on
even
now.
beat a prime fighter, and you took steroids, and you blamed it on a wild boar that's extinguished, my man. That's extinguished. You know what I'm saying? And
That's
even
what I'm saying.
if
Like,
somebody
We
supplied
don't
you
have
the
to fix
wild boar,
boxing, bro.
right?
I
But
don't
see,
even know what the solution is.
and
you know?
that's the crazy part is if like let's say like let's buy into this dusty excuse, the wild boar that's extinguished. You know,
Right.
if it's contaminated, wouldn't you think they're gonna inform him it's contaminated? So why would you eat it unless you want some contaminated meat in your system? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
any
Come
way
on
you
now.
look at it, you cannot justify this dusty excuse. But like I said, he fought a 40-year-old Klitschko on steroids, and then he fought Deontay Wilder and beat Deontay Wilder. So if we look at his career, that's the only 2 named fighters he fought. One of them was 40 years old. It's only Deontay Wilder, the guy he fought in his prime, really. Other than that,
Right.
you know, his career is pretty much has no names in it. But they want to call him one of the
listen.
greats. Absolutely not. And I called
that's
this
what
too.
I'm saying. Deontay made, he rose Tyson from the dead. Like,
Right.
I'm going to be real with you because
Right.
it's like, nobody was checking for him. You know what I mean? You got caught for the PEDs and then, all right, you got banned for 2 years, right? And then you come back, all right, you get back in shape and, you know, you got this whole hype behind you and all this, but it's the person you fighting is always important too. But Deontay was at the top of his range. You feel me?
Right.
He was fine.
Yeah,
And he's still
he
in his
gave him a
prime now,
shot.
I say. But
And he made him come back from
he gave him
retirement.
a shot.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And what he did to him, glove gate-ish. But you know what I'm saying? You know, it is what it is. But like I said, it's just, you know, the double standards in the sport of boxing is just on a whole nother scale. And this got to stop. But it's just funny that the double standards always exist to these fighters on the coincidental list. Not these fighters on the
Right.
hope list. Matter of fact, these fighters on the hope list got hope insurance. They erase losses. They erase your past. You know, you
Right.
can cheat. They're going to blame it
Erase
on...
your L. You can lose, and
And-
then they're gonna erase it.
They're gonna erase it. You know what I mean? Like, how crazy is that? You know what I mean? Like, what pretty much this hope insurance better than Geico. I wish I had it though.
You know what get me, Akhi?
What's that?
When they drop the pound for pound list, bro. Like every time I disagree. Every time. Like,
Man, it'd be a horrible pound for pound list. Like, and
I just be like, they be putting. Listen, and I'm not even like, I'm not biased at all, bro. I say I'm the most non-biased boxer fan, bro, because I keep it a buck. Canelo is not number one. Lomachenko is not number one. Tyson Fury is not number one. They're not up there for me. They're not up there for me.
But you see, know why they don't keep it 100 or they don't tell the truth when it comes to the pound for pound list? You know why that is, right?
Why?
Because if they do, most of the fighters on the pound for pound list will end up being from the coincidental list, and they don't want that to happen. So they want to balance the pound for pound list. So they want to put a couple fighters from, you know, this group and from this other group and from the hope list.
You're right.
And, you know what I'm saying? So they want to balance it and make it look, you know, they make it look good. There's reasons why this, you know, Cubans can't turn pro. There's reasons because they will dominate the game almost. And
Right, they
these
were killing
fighters these fighters on the coincidental list stay dominated the game. If you look at history, all the main dominant fighters from Jack Johnson to Joe Louis to Sugar Ray Robinson to, you know, Roy Jones to Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sweet Pea, Mike Tyson,
about it.
Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Most of these fighters all of these fighters are named on the coincidental list. But like I said, these pretty much
Right.
are the top 10 of the greatest fighters of all time. You know, but of course they're not gonna list all these fighters I named. They're gonna try to mix.
Right.
They're gonna put Duran in there, even though he got whooped by every single fighter from the Golden Era. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're gonna mix it up. When you be like, what? This fighter got beat by this fighter from the coincidental list. Why is he on the list? But this is the reason why. That's why they had Gennady Golovkin on the list of the best 25 fighters of the past era. But after
he was a joke. His
that
whole
was a
career is
joke.
to me.
And they put him on that list without him doing anything at the time, based on potential.
He didn't even fight Andre Ward.
Right.
He didn't even fight Andre Ward.
Right, man. And HBO protected him at the time. They told Ward, man, quit bullying him. Go fight Kovalev. Go fight Kovalev.
Right.
Quit bullying Gennady Golovkin. And then he did it. But man, great talking to you, Akhi. Any last thing you want to say?
Hey, bro, I just want to give a shout out to Akhi TV. Like, real talk, bro. I come home from work, you know what I mean? I do my thing, you know, as far as music and shit like that, when I'm not at work and stuff like that. But, bro, I'm always tuning in. I'm always watching. And, bro, you done enlightened me on just a lot of stuff, bro. Like, the way you articulate this boxing shit is ahead of its time, bro. And I appreciate you and Dante's Boxing Nation, my G.
Oh, that's my
bro. I follow you on the gram. I follow you on the Twitter. Well, I don't know if you got a Twitter, but I follow you on the gram for sure.
Oh, appreciate
yeah, bro.
it,
like
man.
I fuck with y'all. Like,
and you need to call in more so.
Keep going. Like,
yeah, need to call in more so.
I see what these casuals. Yeah, I'm gonna call in more often, bro.
Yeah,
for sure. And
what you say about these
I
casuals?
see what these casuals beyond though. So,
yeah.
Yeah, you got a soldier on your back. That's all I'm saying.
I appreciate it. Hey, and if you see one in the chat, please force him to call in because
I'm gonna line him up.
Hey, listen. After this show is over, remember this. Peep the comment section. How they gonna be trashing? How they gonna be talking all that? But during the live, they don't got the cojones to call in. They stay eating that contaminated meat. They stay eating that wild boar that shrink their cojones. So,
bro, I watch you. You be like, yo, call in. You be talking your stuff, man, with the facts and the receipts and everything. And then I be seeing nobody call in. You feel me? And at first you wasn't putting the number down, and I wanted to call in, so I couldn't call in. But other people was calling in or whatever. So, you know, wasn't nobody talking down. Wasn't nobody saying the stuff that they were saying in the comment. You know what I mean?
They don't want no smoke. Hey, they don't want the truth. They allergic to it.
Hey,
they tuning in. They tuning in though. I promise you that.
They tuning in. Exactly.
They tuning in for sure. But I appreciate you, Akhi. I'm gonna go ahead. You know what I'm saying, and move on to the next round. Appreciate it all day. Call again, Akhi.
For sure.
Had a great
Peace,
conversation with my Akhi. I'm gonna call you back.
All right.
Hold on. Before I get to it. Yep. So before I do so, like I said, keep the same energy. Don't flip. Be consistent. Is the main goal to success. You know, if you're consistent, I could trust what you say. If you stand up, you know, regardless of a fighter being on the coincidental list or hope list, if you at least have an agenda, stick to it. But a guy like Max Kellerman, he will flip-flop so much. I mean, it ain't even, man, he like I said, he a maximum, I call him max hypocrisy, because he will always state his biased opinion on national television and have all these decafs floating my way in the comment section, making his points where I got to debunk on live, but they don't got the cojones to call in because they know it's just nothing but a biased opinion. When the truth is spoken, the other side is nothing but a lie. And I got my receipts. So with that being said, you know, anybody can get it.
But you could call me the can
on some
man,
AB.
Anybody can get it. Africans, Americans.
So all the decats that don't know anything about boxing,
You better not
Quit
duck
ducking.
me, son. You better
Call in.
not duck me, son.
Stop eating that contaminated meat, that wild boar that doesn't allow your cojones to grow. And let me go ahead and play the clip of Floyd Mayweather Sr.
Well, I bet it on Wilder, but he showed me a lot of shit that he didn't know. But some people have been asking me to train him.
Say they what?
A lot of people have been asking me to train him.
Think you can fix him?
Hey, I don't know. I don't know if it can be fixed.
Jeff said he can fix it. You can fix it.
Yeah, well, everything you can fix him. You know, there's a lot of things he got to do that I know that he don't know.
I know Jesus, he fix it for you. As you know.
Or just what I do. Well.
What'd you think of Fury's performance?
Fury, he look pretty good, man. But I mean, neither one of them really look like nothing really that somebody can come out there and just really tear up some. But I mean, Wilder's the two, man. He just he looked, and I don't know. I don't know about them fights, man. Them guys, they just ain't got it, man.
Like either one of them.
I like Wilder at first, but now I ain't got nothing to say about him. But he's a piece of trash.
So, as y'all heard, Floyd Mayweather Sr., and he pretty much violated Deontay Wilder. However, y'all have to be mindful. Floyd Mayweather Sr., he's outspoken, he's raw with it. However, Floyd Mayweather Sr., you know, my interpretation of what he said is that he makes a lot of mistakes, and because Floyd Mayweather Sr. is a master at boxing, the Philly shell, you know, he always teaches you to make the least amount of mistakes and be fundamentally great. So to somebody like Floyd Mayweather Sr., Deontay Wilder's trash because he's not a knockout expert. He's more of a boxing expert, a master expert, the sweet science expert. So you have to take what Floyd Mayweather said with a grain of salt. You can't take it too serious because the way I view Floyd Mayweather Sr., he's outspoken, he has a lot of knowledge, but he's also a comedian to me. Floyd Mayweather Sr. should have been on movies because if he wasn't a guy from The Coincidentalist, he would have ended up in 1 or 2. As funny as he is, I watch him for comedy sometimes. But obviously, the bad side of boxing caused brain damage to a lot of fighters, including a guy like Floyd Mayweather Sr. And I wish that on nobody. So people have to be mindful when, you know, being mad at Floyd Mayweather Sr., claiming that he hates Wilder, this or that. Listen, man, he bet on the man. And he lost his damn money. You know he's tight about the situation. And he stated how he felt, especially at the time. As y'all heard the clip, he pretty much said, listen, man, the man is trash. He makes a whole bunch of mistakes. I'm going to call you back, 571. I also got to call my man first, 675, I believe. So I'm going to call y'all back, but I just want to make my thoughts and state my comments on the matter, and I'm going to go ahead and give y'all get y'all perspective. So, like I said, Floyd Mayweather Sr. lost a whole bunch of money. So when he lost that money and he was watching Deontay Wilder and he saw all the flaws that he was making during the fight, he was pretty tight. And when he got asked, can you correct him? Because he got asked to train him by a couple of people probably from the Mayweather gym. Can you fix him? He said absolutely not. He can't fix him. But ironically enough, Floyd Mayweather Jr. said, if I train him, he could beat Tyson Fury. Ironically enough, on that same interview y'all watch, Jeff Mayweather said, I could fix him. So, yes, according to Senior, Wilder's like broken glass. He just can't put it together, especially not like puzzle. the main job of a trainer is to fix a fighter. The main job of a trainer is to get this fighter that's flawed and have issues with either defense or offense, and makes him better. So my interpretation of Senior was, hey, listen, man, Deontay Wilder is pretty much old, and you just can't teach an old dog new tricks, because a dog is stubborn, and an old fighter is hard for him to learn these things. You all have to remember, Deontay Wilder started boxing at age 21. That's when he got into the sport. That's pretty late. So he missed out on a whole lot, but he always had that power to pull him out. A trainer's job is to fix what's broken. So, Wilder, in my humble opinion, there's quite few adjustments that he can make that will benefit him very significantly. For example, throwing a hook and pivoting while throwing a hook. So that way you throw a hook and you control your opponent hand, you push it down and you pivot, and you basically keep your opponent in control. He's athletic to pull off these things. Deontay Wilder is very athletic, so if he get taught these things and practices it in sparring and during fights and do drills on the pads, he could master it for fight night, where it could pretty much be muscle memory, where he don't have to think about it. He could just pivots, control you, pivot and hook. Where he could hook, pivots, and control you in the process. Where he could jab to the body, and once he land the jab, figure jab to the body, go upstairs, feint. He got to work on these things in sparring, and it's teachable. I don't think it's not teachable. I just think that Deontay fell in love with his power because I always bailed him out, that he felt like he don't need to learn these things. Now, Tyson Fury, on the other hand, it ain't like he was doing something super masterful. Tyson Fury was doing simple things that made it so hard to hit. Tyson Fury will, he will back up in a straight line, but he will keep his hand up and put his left hand out. Well, that pretty much it kept Deontay Wilder at bay. He kept the range, since he has more range than Deontay Wilder. And on the other hand, you all have to to be mindful that he's blocking the right hand while he's doing so. So this simple thing, stepping back with your hand up like that and keeping your left hand for hooks and jabs while protecting yourself from a right hand. Protect your chin at all time and keeping your opponent at bay. It's simple adjustments that you can make that will pay off in a significant way, where Tyson Fury, he made them adjustments during fight night. It's up to Deontay Wilder to do the same thing. Now, like I said, I believe Deontay Wilder is fixable. I just think the issue with Deontay Wilder, he was not prepared for Tyson Fury coming to him. I remember actually watching Deontay Wilder, his previous fights. He always fought guys shorter than him. His whole career, he pretty much never fought somebody with the same height and reach as him, besides Washington. So due to that factor, because he always fought guys shorter than him, it's easier to box and make mistakes, where he fell in love with making mistakes without getting paid. For example, when you fight a shorter fighter, in order to keep him at bay, all you got to do is jab. You could have your hand right here. Because he's short, he's not going to be able to reach you. And if he does, all you got to do is pull back a little bit. But when he tried that with Tyson Fury could reach him from a distance that he's not used to. He could reach him from the outside, where a shorter fighter, all he did is use his jab to keep him at bay. So that range control is very important for Deontay Wilder to realize that, hey, Tyson Fury, which I'm pretty sure he already realized that now, with Tyson Fury coming forward, he's very effective against Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder made a lot of technical mistakes backing up, crossing his feet, and not keeping his hand up without any head movement. So he was stationary for punches And Tyson Fury pretty much took advantage of that. And Tyson Fury walked him to shots. And because Tyson Fury could reach him from the outside, something that Deontay Wilder is not used to, Deontay Wilder cannot afford to throw a jab with his hand down. He cannot afford to throw a hook with his hand down. He got to keep his hand up. It's simple, fundamental mistakes he was making that if he actually makes these adjustments, keep his hands up, jab, feint, throw a hook and pivot. Go to the body, feint to the body, then go upstairs with a right hand. Set your offense instead of making 4 steps in order to throw a right hand. Do what you did against Ortiz in a rematch when you landed that perfect right hand. Don't reach. You got to be in range when you throw the right hand in order for it to be a KO blow. So that's pretty much what Deontay Wilder have to do. That's something he did not utilize during the fight against Tyson Fury in the rematch, because I'm pretty sure he trained for Tyson Fury to move around the ring. So he pretty much got shocked when Tyson Fury was coming at him on some bare knuckle-ish. And we know the rest of the story. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pick up a couple calls. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, how you doing, Akhi? Yeah, so we're talking about the Floyd Mayweather senior comments on, Deontay Wilder. So I want to get your perspective.
Yeah. So I forgot. I called in earlier, so I kind of forgot what I was going to come from with the angle. But do you think? Okay. Well, do you think Wilder can correct his mistakes? Like, honestly, based on the performance that you saw last time.
He was making simple mistakes that he should be able to correct. Yes. For example, crossing your feet, or for example, not pivoting or not keeping his hands up, moving his head. These things are fixable. He just can't. This is the one thing that Deontay Wilder cannot afford to make, which is try to learn a whole bunch of new things. You cannot do that. You have to stick to a few, things to correct and learn a couple ways to avoid Tyson Fury, fury on him, coming forward and storming him. That way, it could be muscle memory fight night. Because, see, you could learn a whole bunch of things, and then fight night, you can't execute because you pretty much aren't used to these adjustments that you made. You're going to fall back to what you already know.
What you know.
Yeah, so
right.
In order for him to actually not fall into that category, he has to learn the main issues and the main mistakes he was making, where they were all pretty much defensively and offensively. Because if you watch the rematch, I think on more than one occasion, I saw Deontay Wilder make 4 steps to throw a right hand. You are not going to land a punch making 4 steps, because you pretty much letting your opponent know, hey, I'm coming with a right hand. Well, here it go. You telegraphing it. You have to hide it. So I believe Deontay Wilder, obviously, he was making a whole bunch of mistakes because he got desperate at one point. But all I'm saying is you got to correct the main mistakes. And if you could improve more so, go ahead, be my guest. But he athletic enough to actually improve on a lot of mistakes he was making. What's your take?
I watched that fight over and over again. And to be honest with you, I don't think people really talked about it, but Wilder was actually doing pretty decent in the first 2 rounds. He had the better jab than Fury, in my opinion, but he didn't box behind it. Like, he couldn't really box behind it, and it just seemed like after the 3rd round, he just got steamrolled.
And he did not make adjustments. When you do fight and fill your opponent out, the first 2 rounds is kind of fill out rounds where I'm gonna see what he coming with, and then I'm gonna make adjustments. You have to make adjustments coming into the 3rd and 4th round. That's what Floyd Mayweather did throughout his career. Deontay Wilder, the way he approached his career, from what I've seen, he will go a couple rounds, and once he go a couple rounds, he will pretty much take off the gas and basically wait to land that perfect punch. So he more patient than making adjustments. He's just patient, waiting on that one. All he looking is for that one, and once he delivers, it's KO. You know what I mean? So Well, what do you got to say to that?
I'm gonna tell you about Fury though, man. Fury, that dude's overrated. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm not a hater, but he's overrated because he struggles against true boxers. Guys that can box, he struggles against them. If you see the Cunningham fight,
Right.
he went life and death with Cunningham, which is a cruiserweight. He moved up. He bullied him based on size, but the fight, he was going life and death with him. And then you saw the Otto Whalen fight, who's also a boxer. He was a no-name, but he ended up being better than what people thought. And he could have got a stoppage on that. So when the AJ fight comes up, people think AJ is, I don't know what they think AJ must be. I don't know, but AJ can box and he can bang on the inside.
And he got skills. And he don't make that many mistakes like Deontay Wilder. He was an Olympian. So
Thank you.
And he actually could box. And I said that on more than one occasion on Split Decision that Fury struggle with fighters with skill. That's why I say Luis Ortiz will give Tyson Fury a hard fight because he have power, he have skill, and he could box. So I agree with you with that 100%. A guy with Anthony Joshua's statue and Luis Ortiz, I think they're around 230, 240 pounds. They're going to definitely give Tyson Fury a hard fight. But because I just think, in my humble opinion, Tyson Fury is like Deontay Wilder kryptonite, and especially with the Glovegate accusations, you know, of course, that definitely helped Tyson Fury to look like the original Iron Mike Tyson with power. Because how funny is it that Luis Ortiz, we pretty much know he's a harder puncher than, Tyson Fury, but he couldn't hurt Deontay Wilder, at least not that much. In the first fight he did, and Deontay Wilder weathered the storm. But we didn't see Deontay Wilder get dropped on more than one occasion the way Fury just steamrolled him. You know, on the other hand, Tyson Fury, I mean, he gained power out of nowhere. So regardless of either or, you know, Tyson Fury in the future against the skillful fighters of the world like AJ, Usyk, or even Luis Ortiz, like I said, they're gonna give him a hard fight. I mean, Wilder even gave him a hard fight.
Yeah.
You know,
but I mean? You know, I agree with your assessment when you said, it can go a way where AJ knock out Fury, but turn around Wilder knock out AJ because it's just a style thing. You know what I mean?
It's a triangle theory when it comes to boxing. Yeah. I keep telling people that, you know, ever since the Ali era, remember, you know, Frazier always gave Muhammad Ali a hard time.
Give him hell.
And Frazier could never ever beat George Foreman, and Ali always could beat George Foreman. So style make fights. That's why we want to see Tyson Fury defend his title, because in order to see how great you are, we got to see you versus different contenders and lions on the come up that's hungry. I mean, we pretty much saw Wilder nearly pull off the upset, and he was a nobody. So we got to see you versus the best in order to figure that out.
Do you think Dillian White could beat Fury?
I don't think. I think Fury could edge Dillian White, but he not interested in watching in fighting Dillian White though. He said on more than one occasion, you know, I don't want to fight Dillian White. I don't know why that is though, but you know, as far as you know, it's funny you say that though about Fury because. You said exactly what Senior said, because Senior, you know, you heard him what he said on the interview. He said, "Man, neither of them good."
Yeah.
You know, Senior said he wasn't impressed with nobody. He said, you know, they okay, but neither of them good. He wasn't that impressed with Fury too. Like I said, skill recognize skill. Senior realized that, hey man, Fury looked that skillful versus Deontay Wilder. But let's see how skillful he looks against the AJs of the world, against the Luis Ortiz of the world. You know what I mean? Let's see if you gonna look as good as you did against a guy like Deontay Wilder, who's not known for being a pure boxer or a guy with skill. He's a knockout puncher. So stylistically, of course, that's gonna benefit you. I said that from day one that Tyson Fury will always give Deontay Wilder his toughest fight before they even fought because of his chin and his defense. You know, he got good head movement, which that's going to give a guy like Deontay Wilder a hard time because he's going to have a hard time targeting and hitting Tyson Fury. You know, any last thoughts before I move on to the next round? I want to keep. Let me ask
you one more question.
I want to keep you on to the next topic too. I want to keep you for the next topic. I want to get your opinion on this topic, but yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you, why do you think? Because we saw Wilder connect with at least, if I can recall, like 3 right hands, and he cocked them back within the first two rounds. He caught Fury with at least 2 or 3 good right hands, and it did on the button. And I think one Fury kind of rolled it off. He saw it coming; it was telegraphed, and he rolled it off. But other ones landed clean. Why do you think he didn't have the magic?
Well,
that night,
I'm gonna tell you one thing. Like when I spar, for example, it be like I will spar somebody and they will throw a haymaker and I see it coming and I get hit with it and I pretty much walk through it. But sometimes I get hit with something I don't see coming and it pretty much hurt, even though it be a short punch. So for Deontay Wilder, it's like you said, he telegraphed it. Some of them were telegraphed. It could land, like flush and all of the above. But when you make steps, I mean, he literally made steps, like 4 steps to throw one right hand on more than one occasion. When you do that, you're not just telegraphing, you taking steam off the punch, because Tyson Fury could see it coming, he knows it coming. So even if you hit him with it, he could take the punch better than when you surprise him with it. For example, when he did with Luis Ortiz for the rematch in the 7th round, he hit the right hand and he threw it at short range. So when he exploded on him, he landed it perfectly, and Luis Ortiz also didn't see it coming. That's the marquee of a KO punch. That's how Mike Tyson was knocking out a lot of people with uppercuts, because he will hide the uppercut. If you see a punch coming, it's going to be very hard for you to knock out your opponent like that, unless you just have devastating power like Deontay Wilder. So you got to land it flush, and you can't roll it off. Like Tyson Fury is pretty good with getting hit with a punch, but roll the punch. He rolls with the punch. You know what I mean? That's a tactic to kind of take the steam away of the punch. So that's why I believe he didn't have the magic. In order to like land that KO blow, it's like you painting a perfect picture. You got to paint it. You're not just gonna throw the paint on the wall and it's gonna paint itself. You gotta paint it. You gotta set it up, which Deontay Wilder usually pretty good at. Setting up the KO blow. But against Tyson Fury rematch, he was desperate. Like he got pretty desperate after he got hurt, and he just started throwing haymakers, and he just didn't sit down on his punch. I feel like at that point he was better off playing possum and kind of like try to walk Tyson Fury to a shot, act like he was badly hurt and surprise him with something. That's what he should have did, but he probably was worried about the referee stopping the fight. But nevertheless, I think in the trilogy match, he's anticipating what Tyson Fury is gonna do, so he should be better prepared. And in your humble opinion, can he fix the mistakes? Because you asked me the question, but I don't think if I got your take on that.
Do I think he can fix the mistakes?
Yeah.
Man, I really don't think so, man. I don't think he's just not that kind of fighter. I don't think he's that kind of fighter. The heart is there. The heart is there. It's amazing. It's a miracle what he's done, because with his lack of talent, his mindset and and he pretty much perfected a style that suited him. You know what I mean? And it's got him this far. But
I see what you're saying. I think you saying he gonna be stuck with where he is right now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but the only adjustments I can see is I'll have to like say what you said. If he just got to hide the right hand. He pretty much got to do what he always does. Just be more patient. Stick behind the jab, because he has a good jab. I think he has a better jab than Fury. He just can't box behind it. Stick behind the jab, snap the jab, and hide the right hand. And that's the only way I can see him.
And like I said before, we're not expecting Deontay Wilder to come on some Floyd Mayweather-ish. We just need him to make some simple mistakes, because they were pretty much simple mistakes he was making that basically were pretty significant fight night, because they caused them the fight. So if he could make them improvement and make it muscle memory where he don't have to think, because see, a moment where you think, you could get hit with a punch or you lose concentration. It gotta be basically like drinking water. It gotta be instinct. You know what I mean? So fight night, he cannot rely on so many things he learned. He could try to learn a lot, but he need to execute on the main issues and the main flaws on his game. Now, the next round, the next topic, let me go ahead and move on to the next round with you because I want to get your take on this. So, you know, Fury came out comparing himself to the greatest, and he said he the greatest heavyweight of all time. He said that he will beat Ali because Ali was small. He say he hit harder than Ali, and he's also just as fast, and he's way bigger than Ali. Now, I want to go ahead and go ahead and get your take on it before I give my take on the situation, because Ali is a skillful heavyweight. People get it twisted, and he also one of the most gifted heavyweights with his footwork. You know, he like float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. He moved like a lightweight and hit like a heavyweight. And Tyson Fury got dropped by small heavyweights like Deontay Wilder, who was 209 when he fought him, and Steve Cunningham. So what's your take on that?
I think he's just talking himself up, man. A lot of this stuff has to do with self-belief, man. Like Wilder, that speaker, believer, receiver, that stuff is real, man. Like these guys really got to, they got to put themselves in a certain mental place. And you got to, I think Mayweather said a quote, which was ill. He said, the reason why I'm at the level I'm at is because no one can convince me that Ali is better than me. You know what I mean? Right. It's not a necessary thing of being arrogant, but you got to take yourself to a place mentally to where you got to believe within your heart that no one can beat you.
Right, and and I agree with you with that, because that's what Floyd Mayweather pretty much did. That's what Shakur Stevenson is doing. That's why I believe he got the highest potential because of that. He's saying, don't even compare me to Mayweather. I'm the next Shakur. I'm the next great. And, Muhammad Ali is known for saying a quote, I said I was the greatest before I even realized I was. So it goes back to speak it, believe it, receive it, right? Now, it's nothing wrong with Tyson Fury saying that. But on the other hand, Bob Arum coming out saying that, he will beat Ali, and many more people. And it's funny to me, though, the double standards that exist in the sport of boxing, because when Floyd Mayweather said that he TBE, he received a whole a lot of backlash, even though he had a very strong argument and debate of being TBE, right? When Muhammad Ali even said it, he got a lot of backlash with Joe Louis comparison, and many more fighters. When even Deontay Wilder, for example, when he said I'm better than Tyson, or I could knock out Tyson, Mike Tyson, they didn't say, oh, that's confidence. He's socking himself out, speak it, believe it, receive it. They said, oh man, you wash, you fight nothing but bums, this or that. Right, but with Mike Tyson, it's funny to me that it's cool, it's okay, you know what I mean? Like what I'm seeing in the media, they actually praising him. They're not saying he delusional. And it's funny that the double standards exist, because if we do look at the facts, Tyson Fury never defended his title. Muhammad Ali defended his title 18 times, and he was a 3-time world champion. He regained the title on 3 different occasions. And Muhammad Ali got his prime years taken away from him. And Muhammad Ali was undisputed. He didn't have 1 strap, 2 strap, and he fought his mandatory every single time. On the other hand, Tyson Fury, he haven't even had 1 mandatory or a title defense yet. And we know styles make fights, as we talked about earlier. Wilder nearly pulled off the upset, and he wasn't even a top 20 heavyweight. You know what I mean? Yeah. So style make fights. We got to see you, like Roy Jones said, in order to be a great, we got to see you for over 5 years at least, or a decade, defending your title against hungry lions. And if you don't prove that, you can't be considered a great. That's what Roy Jones said, because you can't just get a cheat code and get a pass just because you're on the hope list. It don't work that way. And I basically called it, because as soon as Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder, I said, watch them say he the greatest of all time. And they already starting today. He ain't even beat AJ yet. And they pretty much already said he could beat Muhammad Ali, this and that. But like I said, Muhammad Ali had the fastest legs and the fastest hands. He had the best reflexes in the game. You cannot tell me Muhammad Ali, didn't have the best reflexes in the game when he will sit right in front of you with his hands down as a heavyweight and not get hit with a single jab. And what's crazy about Muhammad Ali that people forget, he had the greatest chin in boxing. In the heavyweight division, it's unheard of to get hit with nearly the best left hook in the game in the 15th round, where you pretty much gassed out by a fighter that went to your body 400 times, like Joe Frazier at the time. And you get up in 2 seconds. You get up in 2 seconds. You don't go in a coma or none of that. You get up in 2 seconds. This man, you cannot beat him in his prime. Double standards beat Muhammad Ali when they took him out of the game for 2 or 3 years because he was standing up for his people. You know what I mean? That's who beat Muhammad Ali, truthfully. They didn't beat Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali nearly undefeated. Muhammad Ali after that beat himself, of course, because he fought because Muhammad Ali, according to Ali, he said, the reason why I'm still fighting is because I could do more as a champion. I could help my people. And we all know, as how did Muhammad Ali help his people? We already know that. What's understood don't got to be explained. Muhammad Ali always stood up, and he was always there for his people, and he stood up from day one. He used his wealth and power to bring up his people. So, like I said, he fought to a later age, and he was a champion to a later age because he knew he could do more as a champion. So I hate when Tyson Fury brought up the fact that he lost to Spink, an amateur with 7 fights. And now we see fighters like Shakur winning titles at 13 fights and Lomachenko at 3 fights. That don't mean nothing. Skill pay the bills, and Muhammad Ali came back and beat him. So like I said, nevertheless, I got Ali beating Fury all day. Like you said, that's just him gassing himself up. But it's just funny that double standards show us that, they don't care if Tyson Fury gassing him up. But if Deontay Wilder does it with Mike Tyson, they sure got a problem.
Right. Mike Tyson is really beloved. Well, Muhammad Ali was beloved too. But I think Bob Arum, he knows. He was around back in those days. He knows Fury ain't better than Muhammad Ali. But they trying to promote. I don't want to get race into it, but they want Fury to take over, like to be mainstream in America. Most of his fans are coming from UK, the ones that come to see him fight. But the white American fans don't really seem like they're really buying into him. They ain't really buying into it.
Let me ask you this question, because I couldn't figure this out. Even though I'm like very informed on the sport, I couldn't figure this out. Why is it that Fury got all this backing behind him? He signed with ESPN. He had the Deontay Wilder rematch on the line, the Wilder fight on the line, but he fought 2 unknown fighters instead and signed with ESPN and then got the Deontay Wilder fight. Why is it after the documentaries, after all the depression stories and covering up his past from failing all the drug tests, and like I said, you can't be really a great when you cheat and eat wild boar and blame it on the wild boar, right? You can't take steroids and claim you're the greatest. But why is it he did all of that? He got all this push, he got all this charisma, he could talk trash, he could back it up, he could fight, and he don't have the it factor to be a superstar. Why?
Why he don't have the it factor?
Yeah, you would think he have the it factor.
Yeah.
Why
because
find
to the casual, because to the casual, if you bring a casual, like I I'm around my guys and we watch a boxing, I'm talking boxing, I can tell they don't know what's going on. But to the casual, Tyson Fury looks kind of goofy, man. He's a real big guy. He looks awkward. And so they can't really appreciate what's going on because the way his arms are kind of flabby, so everything looks goofy to him, to the casual. Whereas Mike Tyson, we were spoiled in the early 90s, the 80s and early 90s to see Mike Tyson. We were spoiled, so our expectations in America for boxing is high. That's why Wilder can't really get the break he really deserves, because our expectations are. We lived through the 90s. We lived through Holyfield and Riddick Bowe and all the fighters that we grew up on.
So children and all that,
yeah, we grew up on that. So we spoiled, so our expectations are high. So it's hard to get the casual. They say we show them the fighters that are out now. They're like, all right, man, he kind of whack, man. You know what I mean?
That's a great point, because I always wondered, because I was like, man, they always looked for a guy from the hopeless that could fight and could talk trash. You know what I mean? And I always wondered, man, this man talk trash, he back it up. Obviously, the only difference, like you said, between him and Conor McGregor, for example, that Conor, you know what I mean, like he at least got that swag to him. You know what I mean? But like you said, Tyson Fury, that goofy looking messed him up. I don't know. I think, is he a dosser, or I don't know if I think he called Wilder that. You know, I think he calls Wilder that. I don't even know what it means. But, you know what I mean? A lot of people find that kind of corny trash talk. Like, they want to see some real trash talk, you know what I mean, where they're going to, you know, you're going to be able to crack the crowd up, you know what I mean? But with that being said, state your last comments before I let you go. I got a couple callers that I got to pick up, you know what I'm saying? I had a great conversation with you, Akhi.
Yeah, man, we good. Yeah, but they're just trying to get Fury. He tried to do the WWE. He's trying to everything to cross over to America. It's not translating. He's British, man. Like, regardless if he's Caucasian or not, he's still British. So a lot of folks are just kind of awful on him. Like, they're not really feeling them. You know what I mean? They're just not feeling him. Like I said, and he's kind of goofy and stuff. But he's cool with me. I like him. But
I say this, I actually liked I liked Fury and all the above. I gotta call a spade a spade. That's what a lot of people don't realize. A lot of UK fans and a lot of fanboys that they want to say they call me all type of names and all of the above. But I gotta call a spade a spade. I gotta do my job. If a fighter failed a drug test, I'm gonna call out Tyson Fury for failing the drug test. If I like you or not, I gotta do my job. If you eat contaminated meat and you blame on a wild boar, you know what I mean? Or you take steroids and blame on the wild boar, I got to call you out for it. And they can't be mad at me for, you know what I mean? Like, stating the obvious. But the truth hurt at the end of the day. And it's not for everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, with that being said, man, great conversation with you, Akhi, all right?
I'm going to holler at you. Peace.
All right, 100. So let me go ahead and pick up a couple calls. Shout out to everybody on the chat. Man, we haven't had a decaf call in yet. What is going on? So, let me go ahead and call this man back. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody in the comment section. I'm short on time, so I got to kind of pick up the calls. And how you doing, Akhi? Who this is and where you calling from?
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah,
talk to me.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. You and the last caller, y'all pretty much touched on a lot of stuff, and I still just want to say something, put my 2 cents in it, regardless. But, I wanted to say, like, I think that Wilder can beat Fury if he just be consistent with the basics of boxing. Like, he's a more athletic fighter anyway. He could beat him, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could definitely beat him in a rematch. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? First of all, Fury cheated anyway. And like dude said that what you was speaking with, Wilder did do good the first 2 rounds of that fight. And then that's when Fury started kind of fighting dirty, which we've seen him do. We've seen him do it against Cunningham. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he feels uncomfortable, he starts fighting dirty. So, I think that if Wilder just utilized his athletic ability in the ring and stop loading up, you know what I'm saying, and start just sticking at, it's so simple. It's like, start when you throwing that jab. Wilder got a great jab. When you throwing that great jab, but his problem is that he's not consistent with what he does. He shows flashes of great things. But the thing is, like, you throwing that jab, just stick that right hand out. I don't understand why somebody not having told him, like, just stick the right hand, just stick the straight right hand out. And then sometimes follow that straight right hand up with a hook. A lot of times when he would throw the right hand, even when he was telegraphing it, Fury was open for a left hook after that. He was open for a left hook after that, which Wilder should have thrown a left hook behind it sometimes. And you catch it.
And that's what you call making adjustments. Yeah, he got to make adjustments, and he got to read Fury, and he got to feint. Like, that's feint does a lot, because like you feint. Because see, the advantage that Wilder has, he don't have to be masterful throughout the night. He always said it. You know, I only got to be perfect for a second or two. So all you need is 2 seconds of perfection. Come on, man. You can pull it off. All you got to do is just simply, set him up for a thing or two. But like you said, it's just that he got to execute. He got to execute, and he got to make these adjustments, which are, pretty much going to, make him or break him.
Yep. Because another thing he was doing that I noticed that was kind of good too in that fight in the first couple rounds, Wilder was going to the body. And that body ain't wow. Fury might have good head movement, but that body don't move.
Exactly,
and he
man.
should have, you know what I'm saying?
He should have went to the right hand, though. He should have went. Because, see, remember when Fury, like, he will pull his jab hand or his lead hand out to kind of block the right hand, which was very effective. But why did not Deontay Wilder, instead of throwing that right hand upstairs, throw it to the body from long range? He was open for it. Like, his body was exposed for a right hand, especially when he put his hand out to block the right hand upstairs. And that way, he gets Tyson Fury to kind of put his hand down and put it where it belongs to block the body shots, and feint the jab to the body and go upstairs with a right hand. You know what I mean? He could have definitely, he got to vary his offense. He definitely has to vary his offense. Like I said, it ain't just his defense. He also got to vary his offense in order to set up Tyson Fury.
I think, like I said, I think Wilder gonna beat him in a rematch. I honestly do, because this Corona thing, this pandemic, is actually helping Wilder, in my opinion. It's actually helping. I believe Wilder is sitting back studying right as we speak. Another thing I wanted to touch on was that when Fury say he's the best heavyweight and all this, man, cut it out, man. If this was the 90s, you would be a nobody. You can't even beat Ray Mercer. You can't beat Ray Mercer or none of it. He would lose to all of them.
Larry Holmes, Mike Tyson, Frazier,
man,
they won't eat him up, right? They won't eat it. So to compare yourself to Muhammad Ali, like I said, when you cheated, bro, like you took, man, he got his IG blocked to this day. He got his IG blocked. He got his IG blocked to this day. We're gonna talk about you know what I mean? You better than Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, the champion of the people, he walked without bodyguards because he said Allah is his bodyguard. But you, on the other hand, you got your IG blocked. Even though after your biggest victory, you acting like you lost. So that's the issue. You know what I mean? Like, it's mind-boggling that he got the cojones to say that when he got his IG blocked.
Yep. I understand that he want to have confidence and say that, but let's keep it real. Let's keep this shit all the way real. Ortiz would beat Fury, man.
Right.
Ortiz would beat him.
As I always said, he would give him a tougher fight.
And I'm going to tell you, that's why they always keep acting like he old and he this and he that. Ortiz is the best heavyweight, bro. Ortiz is the best skilled heavyweight in boxing. He would beat Fury because, first of all, he got the power. And then he's not no slot. You know what I'm saying? He's a consistent fighter with what he does. Ortiz. He's going to catch Fury. And that's all it's going to take. Fury got a questionable chin anyway.
And he's a southpaw.
It ain't even so much that.
He's a southpaw.
It ain't even so much. And he's a southpaw. He's fast, too. He's fast, punch hard, and all that.
I think Fury got a good chin. But I just think, I just believe Luis Ortiz is just too skillful. And he also great at positioning. He got great power, great speed. He would definitely, I will favor him to beat Tyson Fury, but he would never fight Luis Ortiz though, unless he's 50 years old.
He wouldn't.
He'll fight him when
have you noticed,
5 years from now. He won't fight him now.
Have you noticed he ain't even never said his name? He ain't never said his name because he know, man. I'm telling you, he can't beat. He know that Ortiz would beat.
And that's why he went to retire early. Man. He went to retire early because he see a lot of great fighters on the come up with a lot of skill. You know, he ain't trying to face. He ain't trying to face. Man, Nicholas Asbury, his sparring partner, told me he was beating him up in sparring. That's why he had to tamper with his glove to give him more confidence and practice execution during fight night. You know what I'm saying? That's what Nicholas Asbury told me.
Yep. This the thing too. He don't want to fight Wilder again because he know that's, if you notice, all the UK fans, all they keep screaming is he gave Deontay Wilder a beating. We don't want to see that again. They don't want to see it again because they seen what we saw. They saw that he cheated just like we saw he cheated.
And they don't want
that to be seen in the next fight. Right. Yeah, they don't want him to fight again and then be wondering like, damn, what happened to that power? What happened to and then we get a ref, and then we get a referee, that don't let them fight, do all that dirty shit either.
Right.
They don't want to see that, man. They don't want to see because they know it's going to be obvious. It's going to be obvious that he cheated.
And well, that's why
even with Wilder's flaws, even with Wilder's flaws, Wilder can still beat Fury even with his flaws. because he's gonna eventually catch Fury. He's gonna eventually catch him. Even if that fight would have went on and Wilder and Fury and cheat, he's gonna eventually get caught. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. That's why he started immediately fighting dirty, because Wilder was basically getting them the first 2 rounds.
Right.
And he like, fuck that, I'm about to start fighting dirty, bro. Start grabbing him in the head, like start doing all that shit. And if you pay attention, that's what he did to Cunningham. When Cunningham knocked him down, he got mad. Because he was mad because he was embarrassed. So he got back up, trying to start fighting dirty as hell.
Right.
He should have been disqualified in that fight. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, Ortiz is the best is the best heavyweight. He really is. That's why everybody be avoiding him. And then they try to use that, Wilder beat him. So, okay. Yeah, Wilder beat him because Wilder was able to catch him. Just like catching Fury. Just like catching everybody else he catch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Fury ain't that type of fighter where it's a lights out if he hits Ortiz. You got to box Ortiz for 12 rounds. Now, Ortiz can outbox him. He can outbox him too. But I believe there's no doubt in my mind Ortiz would knock Fury out. If they thought Ortiz would knock Fury out to me in like 7 rounds, he would knock him out. He would break him down and knock him out. And if anything was in every fight, I would put my money. Ortiz would knock Fury out.
Right. And stylistically, it's a horrible matchup for Fury, and Fury know that. That's why Dylan White talking about Luis Ortiz is old, but he goes and fight Povetkin, who's 40 years old. You know what I mean? Like, hold on. Like, if you're gonna complain about one fighter being old, why are you fighting another fighter that's old? You know what I mean? With that being said, I'm gonna let you go, Akhi, because I got another caller on the line. So appreciate your boxing knowledge. All right. Appreciate you, Akhi, man. Great talking to you. And I'm going to go ahead on 571. I think the call got dropped. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, my computer about to die, so I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know. I think my service messing up. Oh, shit. So I'm going to go ahead So I'm gonna pick up the calls, or I'm gonna call y'all at the end of the show after I do the last topic. So Errol Spence came out, stating that him and Terrence Crawford, once they clash, they're gonna pretty much try to kill each other. Errol Spence said that Errol Spence said he's gonna work Terrence Crawford in the inside. However, Terrence Crawford, on his recent interview, he said he don't see Errol coming forward to him like a bull. He said that would be stupid to do. I don't think Errol gonna come at him like a bull, but I do see Errol Spence standing by his word and eat him up in the inside if they do fight him in the inside. Because Errol said and warned Terrence Crawford, if he does fight me in the inside like he did his last fighter, I will eat him up. So your reflexes and counter punching ability wouldn't be that effective in the inside. Terrence Crawford is. So it's definitely an Errol Spence fight if they clash and they go toe to toe, which I know Terrence Crawford ain't silly enough to make that big mistake that like he did against his last opponent. He knows the caliber fighter of Errol Spence. He's gonna box him and fight him the way he did Jeff Horn. If it's a dog fight, he's just gonna box, and like he gonna utilize holding and boxing around, moving around, fight smart, defense first, offense second. Errol Spence, on the other hand, I believe he's gonna fight him like he fought Mikey Garcia, with maybe more toe-to-toe action. He gonna cut off the ring more so. He gonna be in better condition. So that's an intriguing matchup. Like I always tell y'all, that's the fight I'm looking forward to see the most, because it's two highly skillful fighters, and we really haven't seen a clash of two undefeated fighters in the welterweight division in so long. I mean, the last time somebody fought, maybe that they were both undefeated at the time, was Oscar De La Hoya versus Trinidad, but Oscar wasn't really undefeated at the time, in my humble opinion. He had a couple gift decisions. I really got to go back all the way to Hearns versus Sugar Ray Leonard. It's that type of a fight, because they're going to really try to kill each other. I think one fighter might be dominating. Maybe the fight, the way it plays out, maybe Terrence Crawford dominates at first, and then Errol Spence got to fight him like a dog and make it a dog fight. And maybe he could win it that way. But either way is a split decision win for either one. Maybe it's a KO for one or the other, but I highly doubt that. At this level, it's hard to get knockouts. Well, a lot of people have to realize fighters at this level got better defense, better chin. They can see punches come in better. They always in tune. They always on that tunnel vision the whole fight. They're not going to have the moment where they look away or lose concentration. That's not going to happen with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. It's pretty much is going to be who wants it more, which they both wanted the same, but it's who's better conditioned and who's the better fighter, slightly. You know what I mean? I believe they're around the same, like as far as their skill level and as far as their talent. I just believe Errol Spence has more tools to work with than Terrence Crawford because of him being a natural welterweight. Terrence Crawford is not a natural welterweight. Terrence Crawford is pretty much a lightweight that moved up to welterweight that has power. His power carried through because, of course, he like that Floyd Mayweather where he got high metabolism, where he maintained his weight. Errol Spence, on the other hand, he likes to eat and he get blown out of weight. But according to Errol, he been around comfortable weight where he said he's going to definitely maintain his weight and won't make the mistakes that he made in the past like he did with Porter and Mikey Garcia. So I'm going to take him for his word. And if he does come 100% prepared, I will favor him in a split decision. On the other hand, Terrence Crawford is definitely a real dog in there. Terrence Crawford is definitely a fighter that, you know, could pull off the upset, and I wouldn't even call it an upset. He's pound for pound number one for a reason. On the other hand, Errol Spence pound for pound number 3. With that being said, let me go ahead and I'm gonna pick up a couple calls right after I do the outro. Split Decision episode 31 is over with. I appreciate all my Akhis in the comment section. Subscribe below. Click on the notification bell if you want to get notified every time I post or go live on Split Decision. This is your broski Akhi. I got a show coming with my own broski, my own Akhi. It's called Boxing Hood, Boxing Brotherhood. Akhi stand for my brother. So with that being said, it's going to be with my own brother. So I'm going to give y'all more time slots to call in and get y'all view as I like and I love to interact with all my Akhis. So it's going to be a show on Wednesday, which is Boxing Hood, and there's another show, Split Decision, on a Sunday. I'm going to actually have a set time for each. I'm going to try to be more consistent. I have, inshallah, my daughter. She's supposed to be, she's due for 7/7. That's the date. So I'm kind of pretty much working on the clock. I'm very limited due to multiple projects that I got going on. So I'm going to be more consistent in a week or two. And after my daughter, inshallah, is born. So with that being said, I appreciate all my Akhis. I always appreciate everybody that support me, that always click on the videos, that always like the videos, that always throw the super chats in there, that always call in, that always follow me on all social medias. And like I always tell y'all, anybody can get it on Split Decisions. Even my Akhis, but of course, we talk boxing, we don't debate boxing. You know what I'm saying? These decals, though, they don't got the cojones to even call in. They don't want to hear the truth. So call in, quit eating that contaminated meat that doesn't allow your cojones to grow, and call in. Y'all know what time it is. It's Split Decision time. And none of the decals are a show. They are a no-show, just like their favorite fighters when it's time to pull up, when it's smoke time. So quit ducking. If y'all want to know some shit about boxing, call in. Quit ducking.
You better not
quit
duck
eating
me,
that
son.
contaminated
You
meat.
better not duck me,
And
son.
like I always say, man, it's a pleasure talking to y'all. But for all my haters, please tell me why y'all always hating. But y'all never call in, though. Y'all always hating, but y'all never call in. Doesn't make any sense. Nah, does it? So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the last call. Oh, man. Computer died. Hello, how you doing, Akhi? Yeah, you go ahead, drop your last couple thoughts, cause I'm pretty much we got caught off the live. I think it's done. Yeah, it's over with. I'm sorry, Akhi. Who this is again?
This is
Who this is? I'm gonna catch you next show now.